Are you a football fan? Have you ever found yourself wondering, what in the world was that ref thinking? Well, Mike D, the referee, is here to help you. Join me on Whistle Talk. I talk on the field and in the booth to help you understand what is going on inside the mind of a football official. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another episode of Whistle Talk. Mike D, the referee, joining you here from the wonderful rainy state of New Jersey. Once again, I am being joined by I got Mr. Tommy Barlow joining us again tonight because we are going to be wrapping up Rule 10 of our rules series from the NFHS Rule Book. Tommy is the author of the PowerPoint that I've kindly stolen from him that he uses for our cadet class. And once again, also joining us tonight is Mr. Daniel Chamberlain. Daniel, I got a little intro for you here that I've stolen. I'm going to get in trouble for copyright infringements here, but
let's go. I'm excited.
Here we go. And joining us from the great state of Oklahoma, once again, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Daniel Chamberlain.
It's good enough for Georgia. It's good enough for me.
I don't know. I just find that one of the greatest entrances of all time there. So I figured let me throw it in there. Daniel's done me a nice solid by joining me here for all these episodes. So Daniel, once again, thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule and joining us. Thomas, thank you also for taking the time out. How you guys doing tonight?
Fantastic. I get to talk football with a great coach today that's local to me that just wins like all the games he plays ever. So, anytime that you get to hang out with good dudes, it's a great day.
There you go.
Doing well also. No rain up here by me, Mike, so maybe you got to come venture up into Monmouth County.
I'll be up in Monmouth County tomorrow. I've got to play a nice round of Whack Fuck tomorrow. All right. I'm looking forward to that. For those that aren't familiar with that fun game of Whack Fuck, most of you call it golf. I call it Whack Fuck. Damn. So I'll be looking for my ball here and there. Stole that one from my cousin here. But before we dive into Rule 10, I just want to go over our basic spiel here. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you are enjoying the show, do me a favor and hit that like button. Do me a favor and hit that follow and subscribe buttons. It is totally free, and it really helps out other people find the podcast. While you're at it, I'd love if you could just leave a quick rating or a review on your favorite podcast app. It only takes a minute, and your feedback means so much to me. If you know somebody who'd enjoy the show, share this episode with them or post about it on social media. Every share helps grow our refereeing community, which is what we're trying to do. And don't forget, check out the YouTube page for even more content, behind the scenes looks, and some other videos. Make sure you hit subscribe there too, and check out our new partners, vets2refs.com. They're doing incredible work connecting our veterans with officiating opportunities, so make sure to check them out at vets2refs.com. All right, so we got that out of the way. We're going to dive into our fun part of rule number 10. Let me exit out of this. Let me share this. We're moving and grooving. While I'm doing this, Daniel, why don't you remind our friends where they can find you once again? Because, gosh, you're out there and you're talking with coaches that just go around winning, it seems like.
Yeah, yawning apparently. Every evening it catches me, man. We do the podcasting over at the Football Coaching Podcast with Joe Daniel. That's the primary place you'll find me. The other one is the Coaching 101 podcast with Kenny Simpson. Both of those are weekly releases. I also do Voices of the Heartland, which is a show where I just try to highlight good people. It's a little bogged down right now. I'm trying to get some stuff edited and pushed out, and then I need to get some more people scheduled on. So if you're a really cool human being, log on and email me and I'll hook you up. ChamberlainFootballConsulting@gmail.com is my email. Chamberlain Football Consulting is my little side hustle. Go to patreon.com/Chamberlain Football Consulting. Find a tier that's right for you. If there's not one, email me and I'll make you one.
And Mr. Barlow?
Not quite the social media presence, but can find our association, njfoashore.com, and njfoa shore on X, Instagram. Yeah.
Or you could just shout out at me, ladies and gents, and I can point you in that right direction too. You'll also find us at the NJFOA website where we're out there. Thomas is joining us from the Shore chapter here in New Jersey. He's in the Monmouth County section. I'm down in Ocean County. Ocean County basically got flooded out today, as I was mentioning before, but Monmouth County seemed to be just absolutely beautiful all day. So hopefully this doesn't mess with my interweb, and Danielle doesn't have to do any new advertising for any other internet companies out there this week. So We should be good now. So with that being said, we are going to dive into rule number 10, where we're going to start talking about the enforcement of all the different things that we've talked about in the first 9 rules, baby. Here we go. All right, Daniel, layup number 1. Here you go.
Penalty enforcement. What do you need? You need a who, a what, a when, and a where. Which team, number of jersey, what foul, when did it occur, and where did it occur. The foul, type of foul, and type of play, relevant spots against which team, looking at false start before the snap, dead ball, line of scrimmage,
Succeeding.
Yep. Thank you. Spot against team A, or pass interference during the pass, live ball, loose ball play, previous spot, team B. This will get you or referee everything needed to enforce penalties and give offended team their options for accepting or declining the penalties.
So now this is one here that you as the coaches aren't really going to know about. What the coaches tend to ask us is what number and what was it? And those are the 2 key ones that we're typically communicating to the sideline. But these are the things that we need to communicate, that all of our crew need to know of what happened on that previous play, and especially the head referee, for them to be able to make the proper signal and for us to adjudicate it properly and make sure that we're all on the same page, that the umpire is stepping it off correctly and different things like that, that the referee is not calling holding on the defense when it was holding on the offense. So this is all the information that we need to get to them. And today's day and age, we do rely on those O to O's a lot, but, old school style, run your asses in and tell the R what's going on and make sure you have another set of ears with you. Tommy, you want to take the second slide here?
Sure. So just some general notes for penalty enforcement. No foul causes loss of the ball. No foul causes a live ball to become dead. However, a foul can cause a dead ball to remain dead. When a foul occurs during a dead ball, officials shall not allow the ball to become live. They're going to blow their whistle to stop play. The distance penalty for any foul can be declined. Any portion of the penalty can still be accepted. Replay of the down. Most common on a try, let's say there's encroachment by the defense. Team A or Team K there can elect to just retry the point and keep the ball at the B3. Just because their kicker's comfortable from there. If the penalty is declined or there is a double foul, there is no loss of yardage.
So I want to go back up to the 3rd bullet point here. When a foul occurs during a dead ball, the officials shall not let the ball become live. This is a key one for us officials. When we get those encroachment penalties, when we get those false start penalties, we got to kill it. We got to kill it right then and there, not allow the play to play out. Because I don't know what the actual percentage is, but it seems to be that when we make this mistake and allow this play to play out, this is where an injury then occurs, because we should have killed it beforehand. And it's Murphy's Law that comes back to bite us. We made the mistake. We didn't stop the play. Or, then you had a pick 6 or something that happened when you had a false start. The offensive tackle got out of their stance too early or different things like that. It's not a good optic for us. You see it, we got to kill it. And as Daniel and I talked about, this isn't college where if you jump off sides defensively, you cannot get back. We're killing that one right away. So it's just something that we really need to do. And it falls a lot on our umpire, our short wings at the line of scrimmage, who are focusing on the linemen and the receivers and stuff like that. And also on the R, looking at the quarterback and having a good view of those running backs, not kind of flinching and things like that. So, all right, some more general notes here. Team's decision to accept or decline the penalty must be made before a charged timeout. So we've talked about this one. Can't call a timeout and then come back out of it and say, I changed my mind. You got to make your decision before that. And if you still want the timeout, we'll give you the timeout at that point. Team's choice of penalty options may not be revoked once it's made. So when a live ball foul by one team is followed by a dead ball by the opponent, penalties are administered separately and the order of occurrence. This is not a double foul. So a live ball foul, such as a holding, followed up by a late hit or something like that, we are going to adjudicate both of those penalties. When the same team commits a live ball foul, followed by one or more dead ball fouls, all the fouls may be penalized. This is a multiple foul. Now, Tom, I want to ask you, let's say the offense has a holding, a block in the back, and then a dead ball foul. Are we giving them all 3 of those?
There, you're only getting one live ball foul, because all the live ball fouls by one team loop into multiple fouls. So you only get the one, and then you get all dead ball fouls.
Yep. So then penalty enforcement cannot take the ball more than half the distance from the enforcement spot on the offending team's goal line. And once again, this is something that is different than the NCAA rules. So I want to point that out for the people that abide by the NCAA rules, because there are different penalties, interference being one of them, where it can bring the ball to possibly the 5-yard line if it was at the 18-yard line. Doing the math there, 3-yard line if it was at the 18-yard line. They can get the full 15 in certain scenarios. And I may be incorrect in stating interference as being one of those examples, but not all the time is it half the distance in the NCAA. In high school, it is always half the distance to the goal line. So make sure
does that work both directions? So if a offense is at the 50 and has a holding followed by a late hit and you said you get all dead ball fouls, so 2 dead ball fouls, then you add them all up and you only go half the distance. Okay.
Yep. So we're going to go with that live ball foul. In your example, we'll go back to the 40-yard line automatically. And then as we start working on those dead ball fouls, the first 15-yard line, the 15-yarder, because typically the dead ball fouls are going to be the 15-yard varieties. That first 15-yarder is going to go from now the 40 back to the 25. Now, if you've got a second dead ball foul, we're going from the 25. Now we're going to go half the distance because you don't get the full.
Okay.
So, awesome. Yeah, that's a killer penalty, though. All right. Daniel, as he's drinking his Blue Moon Light in a can. Man, we've talked whiskey and scotch and bourbon here, and now you got Blue Moon in a can.
I'll go get some bourbon. My wife bought me some Widow Jane 10. I should have it in here. I'll have her bring it in a minute. When a penalty is declined, so down after penalty. When a penalty is declined, next down will be the same as if a foul had not occurred. When a penalty is accepted, next down will be the same as the down when foul occurred, unless fouls by A, including loss of down, illegal forward handing, illegal forward pass, illegal touching of a forward pass by an ineligible. Fouls by B that give A an automatic first down, which is the 3 R's, roughing the kicker or holder, roughing the passer, roughing the snapper. Loss of down does not apply if those fouls occur after a change of possession or a new series is awarded.
Dan, you sound like you've done this one before.
The 3 R's is like one of the best things you've taught me, because I cannot tell you how many people want an automatic first down after you put anything in there. That's not
any 15-yard foul, pretty much.
Yeah. If it's supposed to be 15, they're like, nope, that's an automatic first down, right? No, not it.
Any defensive penalty, any holding, any interference, anything like that, they're all looking for automatic first down, and it's not that way. Sorry. All right, Tomas, we've talked about Rule 2. I think you were with us with Rule 2 definitions, but if you want to take our types of fouls from the definitions.
So simultaneous with the snap is a foul that becomes a foul when the ball is snapped or kicked. Your most common ones here are illegal substitution, illegal formation, illegal shift, illegal motion. Basically, those are fouls that, for example, illegal formation, there's no problem for you to have your center put the hand on the ball and have 10 other guys in the backfield. The only time that becomes a foul is when you snap the ball. Those are all your simultaneous with the snap fouls. A live ball foul occurs during a down when the ball is live. Holding, face mask, blocking the back, pass interference. And a dead ball foul occurs in between downs when the ball is dead. Those are your encroachment, false start, snap infraction, generally before the play, late hits, unsportsmanlike conduct, those generally after the play. And then non-player unsportsmanlike fouls that occurred during the down also are enforced as dead ball fouls. And then post-scrimmage kick foul, PSK, is a foul by R during a scrimmage kick before the kick is ended. It's got to meet some certain requirements. But that is its own type of foul and has its own enforcement.
So I want to talk about the PSK, and I know we're going to dive into it a little bit further on, but with what the NFHS has done in the past couple of years of trying to refrain from the re-kick aspect, how often are you finding the PSK requirements all being met and us needing to even discuss them during the games?
We've had, at my crew, at least in the past 2 years or so, we've maybe had 3 that apply to PSK. And of those 3, 2 of them were probably so close to the receiver possessing the kick and when it actually occurred that nobody would have known the difference if we went one way or the other. Your most common PSK is going to be a defensive back holding that gunner as he's making a play towards the returner while the ball is still well airborne, or any type of first block right in front of the returner as the kick starts approaching. But not very common. It threw a lot of people for a loop in the very beginning when they changed it. It was about 15 years ago now, I think. Because previously, any foul that occurred during a kick, we were going back to the previous spot and replaying the down. This was kind of that first change to say, well, ours getting the ball legally, we'll just enforce it against them and give them.
And this is important for a lot of the coaches out there to understand, because there's only a couple of scenarios, and we'll talk about the requirements, and that holding by the defensive back being one of them, where now after you get that 10 yards, well, now K can become A again, possibly. So these are the few times where we're not going from the end of the kick or something like that. We're going from the previous spot, and now they're getting 10 yards possibly, and that 10 yards could potentially give them a first down. So, Daniel, I saw you took a walk out and you came back in holding something a little brown and odd shaped. What do you got there? It's not a football.
This is the Widow Jane, age 10 years. It's one of my favorite special pours. This is not one you daily pour, I assure you. It's just too expensive.
Daniel, I'm sitting here drinking Miller Lite, which is basically tinted water. So me busting your chops on Blue Moon.
It is what it is, man.
It's still good.
I like them all. They all have a time and place. Today is the time and place.
All right. So definition on spots, 2-41. So back to definitions once again. Previous spot is where the ball was last snapped or free kicked. Our succeeding spot, which Daniel started on tonight, but he was doing such a good job up to that, because it is one that I've always said incorrectly myself too. So I got to give him the good props too, but he stuttered on it. I'm going to give him another chance a little bit later, I'm sure. The succeeding spot is where the ball will be snapped on the next snap or free kick, unless the subsequent kickoff enforcement chosen, which was 8-2, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The spot where the run ends is related to where the run ends or the runner loses possession. The spot of the foul is where the spot of the foul occurred, and the post-scrimmage kick is where the kick ends. So kick is a kick is a kick. So we've talked about that a whole lot. So these are just some reminders of our definitions. So
a question that I think other people will have too. If we can go back 2 slides, it was up at the top, simultaneous with the snap. Is there still a breaking the huddle with 12 people foul? Or is it if I break the huddle with 12, because almost nobody huddles actually anymore. Can you still be penalized for that? Or is it just if you snap the ball with 12?
So the rule book criteria is that a replaced player must begin to leave the field within 3 seconds after notifying he's replaced. So if you send a kid in, he's running on the field as you guys are breaking the huddle. Technically, you broke the huddle with 12. He taps a kid out. That kid runs off within 3 seconds. You're good.
Okay. I've disliked that because no huddle teams can't ever be penalized for that, right? So it's like, man, that's a way to get away from a penalty. But I've not really noticed it being thrown very much anymore. So I didn't know if it had been outdated or replaced. So it's good to know. 3 seconds.
And this is the one where when we're talking about our illegal substitution and illegal participation, that this is where we're going to try to get it before the ball is snapped too, because sometimes they'll run in 4 or 5 different subs and we're trying to count, but we're always doing it. And then all of a sudden they come out and it's a very odd looking formation. Now we're going to try to throw it and get it beforehand before we get the participation aspect of it too. So yeah. I don't know many referees that are sitting back there giving a 3 count chop for the 3 seconds. So it's usually pretty liberal in that aspect.
Really looking for 12 guys lined up in formation, or you have 12 in the huddle for a good majority of the play clock. Then you break it, and then one kid's like, oh, crap, I'm not supposed to be here.
Because that's when the defensive coaches, especially teams that do multiple types of defenses that are throwing the nickel and dime packages out at you and stuff like that, they got spotters up in the box that are looking at numbers and who's coming in, because Well, when number 12 comes in, they're 90% run ball at that point, as opposed when 85's in, they're 90% passing the ball. So all of a sudden 10 and 85 are in there, and they're like, well, what are we doing here? So, yeah, we do try to get it, but again, we're kind of liberal with it and making sure that we're not lining up, and especially trying to really enforce it that we're not actually running that play.
I just want to weaponize it, line up 12 and then run a guy off late. It's not a big deal.
Yes, it is. All right, so our dead ball foul enforcement. So a dead ball foul is going to be enforced immediately. Like we talked about, the ball should not become live until it's enforced. So our false start, our snap infraction, delay game, encroachment, free kick infraction. So that's one I didn't mention before. So free kick infraction, Daniel, you and I talked about our pop-up kicks. That is one that needs to be killed right away because that is a safety foul too. So we want to kill that one right away so nobody gets blown up with that. So we want to blow the whistle, throw the flag, and ideally in that scenario, in that repetition, that motion, I want to blow the whistle first to kill the play, and then I'll bring my flag out. I don't want to start with the flag and then blow the whistle. Like that's just a habit that I have that I want to make sure I'm killing the play, and then the flag is coming out so people know why I killed the play. So other dead ball enforcement penalties, 10-5, are non-player or unsportsmanlike conduct, unsportsmanlike fouls can occur during a live ball or a dead ball, but we are going to enforce them as dead ball fouls after the play ends. No foul causes a live ball to become dead. This is one where we've talked about what you're taunting. Kids running down the sideline, breaks off an 80-yard touchdown, starts high-stepping and pulling a Deion Sanders. We're going to throw the flag on that in a live ball type of scenario, but we're going to enforce it as a dead ball. We're not going to bring that touchdown back. And the dead ball fouls are always enforced from the succeeding spot. Any questions on that? And Daniel, I think I told you the story about my kid high-stepping, giving the number one up to down 49-0 on Madison Square Garden when I was coaching. Yeah, he got pulled real quick on that one. All right. This one's you.
Dead ball foul enforcement. Dead ball fouls are always enforced from the succeeding spot. Take that, Mike D.
I told you get another chance.
Right, where ball would be next snapped. Man, the words are all together. It's confusing me. Next snapped or free kicked. Dead ball fouls are administered separately and in the order of occurrence, not used to create double or multiple fouls with live ball fouls. If both teams commit dead ball fouls, equal number of 15-yard penalties will offset. The remaining fouls are enforced separately and in the order of occurrence. We're looking here at A11 hits B2 after the whistle. B2 grabs his face mask and pulls. Fouls offset. This does not include
false start.
Thank you. False start, encroachment. See, it's like the Army. There's just letters for stuff. Encroachment, etc. Someone always went first.
So that's the one that we talk about where who jumped first, and as short wings, we should be sprinting our butts in to the R and having that discussion of who did we have, who went first, did B make A jump off sides, vice versa, different things like that. So there's always
it can't be an offset, false start, and encroachment.
Well, there can, but it's rare. We had one where our right tight end went false started, and our opposite side defensive end jumped offside. So neither of them technically saw each other. So neither of them drew each other off. So that one we did have an offsetting one, but it's not very common. All right, Tomas.
All right, so types of play. Basically, there are two types of plays. When it comes to penalty enforcement, loose ball play is action during a free kick or a scrimmage kick or during a legal forward pass. Running play is anything not included above in the loose ball plays. And running play also includes the related run, which I won't get into that too in depth, but that's the loose ball period after a running play that ends with a loss of possession beyond the neutral zone. There can only be one loose ball play during the down. There can be multiple running plays. So when I say multiple running plays, you can have running back number 21 runs for 10 yards, then he fumbles, and tight end number 88 picks up the ball and runs, and he gets tackled. You have running play number 1, which is the first running back running until his loss of possession, and then the second running play would be the tight end picking up that loose ball and running till he gets tackled.
So, Tom, I got a question for you with this one. Put you on the spot here.
All right.
Quarterback drops back to pass the ball. We got a running play at this point in time.
Yep.
They throw the ball. What are we at then? Is that a loose ball?
That is
Ball's
all
in the air.
part of the loose ball play.
So now it's caught by A85, who makes a legal catch, completes the catch, continuing running down, and now they fumble. Now you got another loose ball.
That is still part of the running play.
That's why I was asking it. Yep. So, Daniel, you understand where we're getting with that one?
Yeah, so fumbles are not loose ball plays.
Yeah, fumbles are part of the run that resulted in the fumble.
Okay.
So
That's
I
the
wanted
unique
to.
part.
That's the worst when you're trying to stat for a triple option team and the quarterback pitches it 8 yards down and you got to give him 8 yards and the running back 15. Come on, guys. Is a pitch a loose ball play or does it some kind of controlled fumble?
Same thing. It's just anything that's not a legal forward pass is part of a running play.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. So running plays at the end of the run. The end of the run is where the ball becomes dead in the runner's possession. Example is he gets tackled, he goes out of bounds, etc. We've talked about forward progress, different things like that. The running play ends where the runner loses possession if his run is followed by a loose ball, where he fumbles, throws an illegal forward pass, etc., when it's beyond the neutral zone. This loose ball is still part of the running play and then related to the run, as Tom just explained. So the new running play would begin when that loose ball is recovered. So now, in that scenario I just gave, if B were to recover the ball, now we've got a new run play now because B is now running back a potential fumble. And the spot of the catcher recovery when momentum rule is in effect. And we talked about the momentum and force rule in Rule 8. So any questions with that, Daniel?
No, it just reinforces that, like, once the ball is thrown, defense is offense too, right? As a defensive coach, I always tell my guys, like, that's your ball too. Go get it because it's a loose ball. So now the rules tell me that we're correct there.
This as long as they're not going through the player to get there. All right, loose ball plays and running plays. There can only be one loose ball play during the down. Again, we just talked about that. There can be multiple running plays, i.e. related to the run. The runner loses possessions. Their teammate or themselves, they recover and they advance it. And any down can consist of only a loose ball play, running plays, plural, loose ball play following a running play or plays. So forward pass caught, loose ball up until the ball is caught. There it is, blended together again. And then the running play begins. So just reinforcing what we were just talking about. And I'm going to finish this one off here, being we're on the same topic. Technically, you won't know the full type of the play until the down is over. So this is, again, now we're going back to the first slide that Daniel talked about. We're going to relay this information to R about what kind of play it is, because technically R has the most boring job in the world. They get to watch the quarterback the entire game, so they might not know all those other things that we had going on downfield. So now we got to relay all that information to them. Was it a loose ball? Was it a running play? Different things like that, because that can have an effect on how we're marking the play off and walking the ball back, which we are going to dive into more. So any run preceding a loose ball play is considered part of the loose ball. Once a loose ball play occurs, everything that happened before it is part of the loose ball play. And the running play ends when possession is lost, again, beyond the neutral zone, end of the run. However, always a however, can't make it just cut and dry. That loose ball after a running play is still part of the same related run. The next related run begins when the possession is gained. So there's a lot there to digest. Daniel, I saw a couple faces up there as you were trying to look at that one.
I'm just waiting for the rule that makes all of this matter. Why does all of this designation matter?
So to answer briefly, it's based on where we enforce the penalties, what our relevant enforcement spots are. But these kind of examples can kind of show you what it.
So if there's a hold that happens after a fumble is recovered by the same offensive team, so A fumbles, recovers it, continues to run, then there's a hold. Does that matter?
Yeah, it's going to, which running play it occurred during is where we're going to go back to enforce it from. From either the end of the run or the spot of the foul.
So Tom did a great job with the PowerPoints talking here and taking this from a gentleman here that works with the works here in New Jersey. Mr. Bob Masucci does a great job helping us out with all of our rules interpretation throughout the state, also with our mechanics manual. So Bob put together a couple of these examples here. So Daniel, this hopefully will help clarify that. I highly recommend those people that are just listening, take a look at the YouTube channel for this to see these charts that we have up there. But play number one is quarterback 8-12, takes the snap at their 20-yard line, hands the ball off to the running back, 35. And at A's 15, they gave it to him at the A 15-yard line. A35 runs to A's 35-yard line where he fumbles. 80 recovers the fumble, advances to A 40 where he's then tackled. So what we have here is a chart that says the interval between and what is part of. So the snap, the handoff, the running play, the handoff, A35's fumble. Tom, I'm going to pass this one off to you because it's difficult to explain without sitting here looking at it. So I'm saying it incorrectly, and I don't want to misguide anybody.
Gotcha. So so Mike read the question there. So basically, what these charts are showing you is where we're sort of delineating between the different types of plays. So the interval between the snap and that quarterback handing off the ball is part of a running play. And then from the handoff all the way up until A35's fumble is still part of a running play because there was never a loose ball. And we're considering that related run number one because it's the first running play that happened during the down. From the fumble from the interval between the fumble and to when A80 recovers the fumble, that is still part of related run number one, still part of the same running play. And then from when A80 recovers the ball all the way until he's tackled down at A's 40 is part of a new running play, a different running play, which is now related run number two. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
So that's example number one. And I was reading the chart just in the wrong direction. I've looked at this chart 1,000 times and I understand it, but then I started saying it and I was like, no, it's not right. Are you a veteran or a first responder looking for a new way to serve? Vets to Ref, along with their partners, supports you every step of the way, covering costs, supplying gear, and connecting you with top-notch training. Step onto the field and make a difference for the next generation. Vets to Refs, opportunity, community, and service in every call. Learn more at vetstorefs.com. That's VETS, the number 2, REFS.com. Vets to Refs, here to help you serve. And we're back here with play number 3. Punter K10 takes a snap at his 20-yard line, kicks 42, catches the kick at R40 and runs to the midfield where they fumble. The ball then rolls out of bounds at K's 45. So the interval between the snap and the kick is going to be considered a loose ball play because, well, we got a long snap, going to be about a 15-yard snap. The kick, R42's catch, the interval there, that's going to be still the same loose ball. Once R42 makes the catch and his fumble, though, that's going to be now our first running play because a kick is a kick is a kick, and now he caught the ball, so now we have our running play. The fumble, and because the fumble rolled out of bounds, well, that's going to be the end of the running play, so it is still going to be related to run number 1. So that one's kind of straightforward. Daniel, any questions with that one?
Nope.
And this one's going to be our PSK type of scenario, too, that we need to understand and know about. All right, so we're going to move along here to some recent changes now, because this is something that has come into play. What are we going into year number 3 now, Tom, with this one, with the change?
This will be year 3 because it was first
year
class
3 coming up.
Yeah, first class I taught was the old rules, the all but one, and then 2023, 2024, and this year 2025 will be the third one.
So with this one, we're talking about Rule 10-4, which was changes. They completely removed the all but one principle, which was 10-6, and there's 2 ways to learn and understand the new penalty enforcement. Use the all but one principle, which if you are an official prior to 2023, you should know. With the new exceptions that will apply, or you can memorize all the enforcement spots on the play type and the play end, which is the new table 10-4. And if you have the ability to memorize all of that, good for you. I don't. So
Not either.
the exceptions to the all but one principle. If the foul is committed before change of possession by either team and, big bold letters, the spot of the foul or the basic spot is behind the previous spot, the penalty is enforced from the previous spot. So we could see here on our diagram. And Daniel, I want you to take note of said diagram here because this is something that we do utilize with our cadets and with the different scenarios that they're presented in their test. They're given basically a roadmap of a football field and they're writing everything down. Okay, the ball was snapped here, the run ended here, the penalty occurred here. Where are we going to be enforcing it from? Well, in this scenario, we're going from the previous spot. Make sense?
It does.
All right, the following fouls are always enforced from the spot of the foul: illegal batting or illegal kicking, illegal forward pass or intentional grounding, and illegal participation. So these are 964, 964A, and G. Basically, the way that we try to do it is think fouls that are against the ball are going to be spot fouls versus fouls that are against a man. So that's going to be one of our exceptions that we're talking about. A foul committed by Team A in their own end zone is always a safety, regardless of what the basic or the enforcement spot is. So that's one that we have talked about. So although that holding penalty now, if they started on the 10-yard line, gosh, that's a huge hold if they're holding in their own end zone. But if there's a holding penalty from their 10-yard line, we're going to mark it off from their 10-yard line. But if that holding penalty occurred in their own end zone, it's going to be a safety. So it's not common that one happens from that distance.
Just for clarification, if that holding penalty occurred at the 1 yard line, it would be enforced from the 10, be half the distance to
Yes.
5.
Correct.
But as soon as they cross the goal line, it removes the exception to move it to the previous spot because
Correct.
It happened in the end zone.
Yep.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would want to argue so much if I didn't know the rules.
And they still will. All right. And I'll take this last one, and then we'll pass it off to Daniel here. The enforcement spot is the previous spot, 10-4-2. The enforcement spot is the previous spot, unless 8-5-2C apply, for a foul that occurs simultaneous with the snap or the free kick. We've talked about that one. A foul which occurs during a loose ball play. So the ball's in the air. We're going to go back to the previous spot. A foul which occurs during a legal kick or an inadvertent whistle ends the down, which, again, we're never talking about. That's Voldemort. A foul by A or B when the run ends behind the line of scrimmage and there's no change of possession. So, Daniel, that answers your question that you just asked. We're going to go back to the previous spot. So that scenario is back to the 10-yard line. The foul by A occurs behind the line of scrimmage when the run ends beyond the line of scrimmage. So if the foul happened at the 9 and the runner was tackled at the 16, we're going to still go back from the 10-yard line in that scenario. A foul by A that occurs beyond the line of scrimmage when the run ends behind the line of scrimmage. So you're holed by a wide receiver downfield, but the tackle ended at the 8-yard line when the ball was snapped off the 10. That one we're going to enforce from the 10 or possibly have a declination of the declining of that foul because they got tackled for a loss. But that's up to the coaches. We got to give them the options. And a foul by A or B when the run ends behind the line of scrimmage before a change of possession. So a lot of different things there to digest. This one is actually, in my opinion, Tommy, and you can correct me, I think this has kind of made enforcement a little bit easier now that we've gone to this format of knowing where we're going to respot the ball and go from it.
Yeah, I agree. Because previously, using the example you gave, we're snapping from the 10, guy gets tackled at the 6, and then there was a holding at the 8. We're going to go from the 6 because the end of the run in the all but one tells us that only fouls that occur behind the basic spot are enforced from the basic spot. It makes it a lot easier. Basically, if any part of the play, any spot we're worried about is behind the line of scrimmage, we just go from the line of scrimmage. And then downfield, they usually separates itself. Once you're beyond the line of scrimmage, it's a little bit easier to interpret where we should walk it off from. So I think it's made it easier. I think personally, and again, I there are people that are paid much more than I am to write these things. I'm not I don't like the way they wrote it, but that's also just a personal opinion. I think,
Mr. Referee, that's a government employee, I'm sure, and they do not get paid more than you. They get paid beans, which is why it probably sounds like a fourth grader wrote it and interpreted it.
America.
Merc.
All right. Daniel, you get PSK fouls.
PSK fouls by R. The basic spot is the spot where the kick ends when R commits a PSK foul. R fouls behind the PSK spot and, R spot fouls.
Huh?
Yes. R commits a post-scrimmage kick foul R fouls behind the PSK spot. R spot fouls. R fouls behind the PSK. Yes.
Yeah, we got to get. So we're going to talk about this when we get to the PSK criteria. So I'm going to hold off and come back to this slide if we have to.
Thank you. I felt criticism. I felt judgment.
Nope. I just saw the look on your face like, wait a minute, what? All right, Tom.
Continue here. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
This me? All right. The enforcement spot is the spot of the foul. So the basic spot is the spot of the foul for illegal batting or illegal kicking when the foul occurs behind the end of the run. Illegal participation in 964A and 964G, which do not quote me on this, but I believe it is participating after your helmet has come off, and participation by somebody running onto the field during the down and influencing the play in some way. So you're participating with 12 players. That's not a spot foul, which most of your illegal participations will be. Illegal forward pass and intentional grounding are always spot fouls. So when we have a foul by the team in possession that occurs behind the end of the run after a change of possession, that's going to be a spot foul. And when Team A commits any foul in his end zone for which the penalty is accepted, and that's going to be a safety. And for a foul by A that occurs beyond the line of scrimmage during a running play, when the run ends beyond the line of scrimmage and the foul occurs behind the end of the run.
So, for example, 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line, running back runs and gets to the 30-yard line where they get tackled, but a receiver held downfield at the 25-yard line. We're going to enforce from the 25-yard line in that scenario because the run was beyond the line of scrimmage, but the foul occurred behind the end of the run.
I want to know how you can have illegal kicking behind the end of the run. Like
it's
you kick
impossible.
Your teammate and he continues running. Is that you thought you were going to get it where the teammate got tackled? I don't. It's wild that rule's in there.
That's an excellent question. I guess. Yeah, because the end of the run is when you illegally kick the ball. So
yeah.
I guess it's really illegal batting.
Anyway, sorry.
No, because it probably happened once in the universe, right. And so it needed to be addressed and put in there. Yes.
I got it. I figured out the situation. Running back, he was running, he fumbles. The ball goes backwards. So the end of the run is where he fumbles. The ball goes backwards, and somebody kicks it out of bounds.
Now you're making logical explanations. What I needed was he fumbled it and kicked it to a friend in front of him who picked it up and ran.
There you go. That applies as well.
Is this me?
Sure.
Enforcement spot is the seceding spot. Look at that. Got it again. You're not going to get me twice with the same acronym. The basic spot is the seceding spot for unsportsmanlike and non-player fouls, dead ball fouls, when the final result is a touchback, foul by Team B when the run ends beyond the line of scrimmage, foul that occurs beyond the end of the run following a change of possession, foul by Team A that occurs beyond the line of scrimmage during a running play, which is why I guess it's good we know what's a running play or a loose ball play, when the run ends beyond the line of scrimmage and the foul occurs in advance of the end of a run. Yeah.
Any questions, sir?
No.
Got it.
I mean, it's pretty...
Trained you well, young Padawan.
Lingo. It's just getting the lingo out that's hard.
Well, that's where my biggest qualm came for when I was a cadet, because you being a coach and me being a former coach, I'm just like, why can't you just say the offense and the defense and this guy held? And yep, it's the legal jargon that sometimes gets you and throws you for a loop. All right, so 10-4, other basic spots. The basic spot is the goal line when the result of the play would otherwise be a safety. And the related run ends in the end zone of the team in possession. So a basic spot is the 20-yard line when the result of the play would be a touchback based on the force by an opponent, which we talked about force and momentum in our last episode. When the result of the play would be a touchback based on force by the opponent over the team in possession's goal line, and the related run ends in the end zone, followed by the loose ball. And the last one is the succeeding spot can be the subsequent kickoff for fouls on scoring plays. So as in Rule 822, 23, 24, 25. Yeah, so this gets fun. So
these three are very... The last one is common. The first two are very...
Yes. So a lot of...
Go ahead. Yeah, so previous years, right, if you're on offense, you're backed up in your own... near your own goal line, you get tackled in the end zone. Let's say you're on the one. Your running back gets tackled in the end zone, but he's brought down by his face mask. Prior to 2023, we would have enforced that 15 yards from the goal line. This year, we're just enforcing that from the line of scrimmage. So you're getting that extra yard or two. The only time that really comes into play is after a change of possession.
Yep. Still not very common.
Yeah. I've never seen it in however long now.
All right. So a misconception that you hear with penalty enforcement, and this still does apply, but it doesn't always apply. So I want to throw that out there. But you're going to hear people say, enforce it from where it hurts them the most, referring to the spot of the foul versus the basic spot. This is not 100% true, especially now where we've changed the rules and modified the rules in 2023. So it doesn't cover every situation. An example is A, 1st and 10 from their A40. A2 throws a forward pass to A81, who jumps for the ball, muffs it in the air. B27 lowers their shoulder and forcefully contacts the defenseless receiver A81 while they are in the air at the 40-yard line, and the pass falls incomplete. So in this scenario, the basic spot of the foul would be the previous spot, A or B40, or a loose ball play 15 yards from the B40. So which one do you think it is here, Daniel?
It's going to be the previous spot because it was a loose ball. I got you. I think, well, it says loose ball play. It is a loose ball play.
So
I still think it's previous spot because he didn't make a catch. He never established a new, I'm in control of the ball up here. So it has to go from the previous spot.
So we're going to go 15 yards from the previous spot. Correct. Where people would want it to be 15 yards from where he lowered the boom on them. So in that scenario,
the most doesn't work.
Yeah.
And the holding penalty we talked about earlier. If you hold behind the line of scrimmage, you still get 10 yards from the line of scrimmage.
Correct. Where prior to 2023, if you held 7 yards in the backfield, you'd then tack on 10 yards from that, 7 yards in the backfields. So instead of it being 1st and 20, it's now 1st and 27. All right. So, Daniel, I'll let you do the enforcement spots summary.
Enforcement spots summarized. Simultaneous with snap foul is from the previous spot. Live ball foul during a running play goes to the end of the run. In all cases but the one. All but one. Didn't we just say we got rid of this? Where offenseful behind the end of the run will give you a spot of foul.
Offensive foul. I'm sorry. My typo.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I was like, offenseful. That sounds like a government word. It's very offenseful. Yes. Offensive foul behind the end of the run. You would go to spot of the foul. Except when the foul or end of the run is behind the previous spot, then you go from the previous spot. Live ball foul during a loose ball play goes from the previous spot in all cases now in 2025, which we just discussed. Post-scrimmage kick foul from the PSK spot or the end of the kick in all cases but the one where R fouls behind the PSK spot, then you get a spot of foul. Dead ball fouls, succeeding spot.
Yes, sir. Got a couple typos today. I think I was.
That's a good summary though. That's the one you need to put on your video board if you're a coach. Like, listen, fans, I know you're gonna yell, but here's the rule. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, they're still gonna yell, and it's really even better when the announcer doesn't know it, and then they announce it, because that really makes us all look awesome. All right, Tommy, PSK 216. We're going back to the definition first.
Yeah. So this is one, again, you got to go back to the definitions to get the full concept of it. But so PSK foul is technically a type of live ball foul, but it's got its own rules and enforcement Post-scrimmage kick foul is a foul by R during a scrimmage kick play, other than a try or successful field goal. There are 5 requirements to have a PSK foul. The kick must cross the expanded neutral zone. Foul must occur beyond the expanded neutral zone. Foul must occur before the end of the kick, before possession is gained, and K cannot be next to put the ball in play. So simultaneous with the snap fouls are not PSK. Illegal substitution, participation, illegal motion, etc.
All right, so let's talk about that for a second. So the kick must cross the expanded neutral zone. That's our first requirement. Foul must be beyond the expanded neutral zone. Foul must occur before the end of the kick. And again, a kick is a kick is a kick, Daniel. So that's why we always say that. Man, I got to go back and work on some of my editing skills here on my PowerPoint because I blurred them all together here. And K cannot be next to possess the ball. So these are some of the requirements that we're going to be talking about here that we're going to be looking for. So if there is a muff and K recovers the ball, we're not going to have a PSK. They're not going to hit the requirements. If the kick doesn't go past, you got a windy day or the kick gets blocked, doesn't go past the expanded neutral zone. The foul must occur beyond the expanded neutral zone. So if you have a hold by your personal protector, they're not beyond the expanded neutral zone. So that's not going to be part of the PSK requirements. And the foul must occur before the end of the kick where possession is gained. So all these different things are going to come into play. And it's the things that we're going to talk about. And as Tommy said, 2 times in the past 3 years or 3 times in the past 2 years, I forget which way he said it, but it's not a very common occurrence regardless, as opposed to a holding penalty possibly every single game or multiples.
While we're on is it true that refs won't throw more than 5 holding penalties in a game?
I had 4 on one kid one game, so I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not.
A running thing for Joe Daniel Football and on the podcast that refs generally won't throw more than the 5th holding penalty against your team.
I can probably find a couple games where my line of scrimmage guys.
It goes back to the holding on every play. Yes, probably. If you got, you know what I mean. So it's that ref will start questioning himself. Am I really seeing these? Am I throwing too many? Anyway, double.
It is true. So I gotta say the one that I had 4 on the same kid, and they were all in the first half. And I'm like, Coach, your left tackle is tackling the defensive end on every pass play. Please address this because I have to keep throwing it because he's taking away a sack. And finally, he moved to right tackle, and for some reason, he did much better there.
There you go. It's because the other line judge was watching. Double and multiple fouls, 10-2. So double foul, 1 or more live ball fouls committed by each team. Penalties will offset, meaning cancel each other out and replay the down. So multiple fouls, 2 or more live ball fouls committed by the same team. Offended team is permitted their choice of penalties. So you just get whichever one you pick. You don't get them all. Live ball means non-player or unsportsmanlike fouls do not apply to above. So difference in live ball and dead ball.
Yep. And as we talked about that, we're going to do our unsportsmanlike penalties we're going to consider as a dead ball foul. Even though it may have occurred in a live ball situation, we're going to go with a dead ball foul with that one. Going back to your multiple fouls, if by chance you have a multiple foul and you've got a 5-yarder and a 15-yarder, you're going to get the 15-yarder. So that's going to be one of those scenarios where you hit them where it hurts the most type of scenarios. You're not going to get it's usually a no-brainer that we're not even really going to look to the sidelines for what the coach wants. We're going to give them the harsher penalty in that scenario. All right, double fouls. When both teams commit fouls and there's no change of possession unless our fouls are PSK fouls. Both teams commit a foul and there is a change of possession and a team in final possession fouled before the change, and there is a change of possession and the team in final possession accepts the opponent's penalty. So we're going to talk about clean hands and dirty hands in a moment, but penalties are going to offset in double fouls. Change of possession is where it's going to get tricky, and that's going to be our clean hands, dirty hands. There's a change of possession. Oh, let's just go to the next slide and go to the next slide and find the clean hands, dirty hands. Well, there we go, the clean hands principle. So we're going to just run with this one here. So when there is a change in team possession, the team in final possession must have gained possession with the quotes clean hands, meaning that they did not commit a penalty before they obtained possession of the ball. So team A is running the ball, they fumble, team B picks the ball up, and during the return, team B blocks somebody in the back. Because they got the ball with clean hands, they're going to maintain possession of the ball. So if team B commits a defensive pass interference and then intercepts, well, they did not get the ball with clean hands because the penalty happened before they got the ball. The team in final possession, fouls after the change of possession. They gain possession with clean hands. They are entitled to retain possession. However, they are still subject to that foul. So that block in the back penalty by B returning it will be going from where that spot foul happened, so where that play happened, or the end of the run, depending upon where it all occurred. But team B will maintain possession, and we're going to march 10 yards back with team B still staying in possession. Daniel, questions on that?
No, it makes sense. I really like the breakdown of clean hands, dirty hands, because if you committed a foul to get the ball, you're not going to keep the ball.
Well, here's now where it gets a little tricky. So now our double hands with the clean hands principle. So both teams commit fouls and there's a change of possession. So this is again now where I throw a flag. I got to be able to communicate to my referee when that happened and all that fun stuff because they're watching the quarterback. So the team last gaining possession may retain the ball provided that the foul by the team last gaining possession is not before the final change of possession. So the foul by team B can still be in possession if they got it with clean hands, and the team last gaining possession declines the penalty for the opponent's foul. So say we got an offensive holding, A throws an interception, on the return, B blocks in the back. Well, it's not offsetting penalties because you have a foul by A and a foul by B. B got the ball, with clean hands, so they're going to decline that holding penalty. A is going to keep the block in the back penalty, so B is going to maintain possession of the ball, but we're still going to mark that 10 yards for the block in the back. So got to make sure that we understand that because a lot of people will just wave it off and say, oh, A and B, it's offsets.
So that's why the understanding two plays happened, right? Like what we talked earlier. Loose ball play to throw the ball, then I intercepted it. It is now a turnover. It is now a running play. The fouls happened on separate plays, essentially.
In essence. All right. Daniel, I'll let you take this one.
10-2 situation A. This is double fouls and clean hands. During a legal forward pass which crosses the neutral zone, A1 is illegally in motion at the snap. B1 intercepts, and during his return, B2 clips A2. So the options here are foul by Team A and foul by Team B, but there was a change of possession. Team B didn't foul prior to change of possession. They have clean hands. Team B can decline A's illegal motion to retain possession. Team B will keep possession after enforcement of the clipping penalty. Now I'm going to go back and ask because I thought that the illegal motion should have made the play go dead anyway, a dead ball foul.
So legal motion is at the snap because...
Yes.
And that's where the difference is. So the false start is going to be the dead ball foul.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you for clarifying. I just thought of it as soon as I said it out loud on the air. So.
That's all right. All right, Tom, I'm going to keep throwing PSK at you.
All right. So double foul with a change of possession, and all our fouls are PSK fouls. So they meet those 5 requirements. R must decline K's fouls to retain possession. Otherwise, it's a double foul. We're going to offset and replay the down. Lucky I know what this big jumbled mess of a word is supposed to say. R is assumed to have gotten the ball with clean hands because K gave up their right to the ball once it is kicked. So because K kicks the ball, R is assumed to have gotten it with clean hands, even though technically they foul before they have possession. Because K is giving up the ball, R is assumed to have clean hands on a kick play. And then the team last in possession has first choice of options. And again, R would have to decline K's fouls to keep the ball.
First of all, with our beer theme here, I don't know if either of you speak any German, but that is very much how the Germans would put their words together.
No,
run it long.
And this is why you invite the author of the PowerPoints, with the modifier of the PowerPoints being me, the one that screwed these blurbs up, because that's the second longest word in the English language right there, I think, now, other than supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
No, it's up there.
All right, double fouls with change of possession. This is where it gets a little complicated, because nothing else that we've talked about in the previous slides or other series or shows has been complicated whatsoever. This is where it gets a little complicated. Think of it like this. All other plays, a double foul equals penalties offset. No teams will be declining a foul, and we're offsetting them. We're going, replaying it down, moving on. You only have to have one to enforce against them. So when there's double fouls with the change of possession, again, we're only got it with clean hands. We're going to only go with the team that the other penalty was on. So we're not going to offset it in that scenario. I got to rephrase how I just stated that. So you got it with clean hands, you're good to go. When there's a change of possession, the options do matter. Only one team can potentially decline their penalty after possession. Again, if you still want to maintain possession, you're going to decline the other penalty. If you want it to offset and replay the down, by all means, take both penalties, have them offset. We'll replay it. But yeah, we don't want to do that. But if both teams accept the foul, double foul, replay the down. If one team declines, the penalty is enforced as normal, just as the other fouls. So again, just like we talked about, going back to your clean hands, dirty hands, when did that all occur? All right, Danielson, 10-5, special enforcement rules.
Some fouls and situations have penalty enforcements that are different than everything we discussed. This is the government, guys. I worked for them. I know. Yes, all of that except when. All listed in Rule 10-5 or page 79 and referenced back to where enforcement rule and associated penalty enforcements are located.
Keep rolling with it.
Fouls by K during a kick down prior to the end of the kick, so it's in the air, you get the 10-4-2 exception. R has the option to select succeeding spot enforcement on these plays. Rationale. Kick plays are most dangerous, and options to not repeat them should be given. Essentially, we want to get away from people flying downfield to people that are standing still. Example, K.
4th and 10.
Thank you. I was like, that looks like a jersey number. Okay, so K 4th and 10 at their own 20. So at K 20, K snaps the ball with 5 players in the backfield in a scrimmage kick formation and punts. The kick is downed at the 50 by K. It is an illegal formation. It would be 5 yards from the previous spot. Normal enforcement, simultaneous with the snap, previous spot, K 4th and 15 at their own 15. Special enforcement option, succeeding spot. You get the 1st and 10, but you get those 5 yards at the end of the kick. So you would get 5 more yards for your offense if you were off.
Correct. And this is one of those rules that changed. I want to say that 2-3 year period again, it's more recent, where they're trying to get away from having teams re-kick the ball, be it on kickoffs, punts, whatever it may be. They're trying to get away from having that extra kick, the kick out of bounds, different things like that on the kickoff. So they're really trying to get away from that, because they're trying to just make the game a little bit safer. And as you've seen in the NFL and in the European leagues with the funky type of kickoff, because that's where the concussions are occurring, there's always that trickle-down effect with something. This is the NFHS's rule, because we can't not have kickoffs in high school football because some teams can't kick the ball. So it is a major advantage in special teams to have that ability to have your best athlete, as Coach Chip likes to say, have your dude sitting back there to return the ball. So they're not getting rid of it anytime soon.
Question on enforcement here. If R receives the ball and runs and is then tackled to end the play, can they just tack 5 yards onto the end of their return? Or do they have to go back and say, nope, now kick it again? Because they actually they possessed it and began a return.
So I'll flip it on you. What's the definition of succeeding spot?
I've done 10 of these episodes. There's so many definitions.
Where the ball is next snapped. So whether they possess it or not, that the succeeding spot is where they would next snap it from. So they could return it all the way to the 10-yard line and get that 5 yards from the illegal formation tacked on.
Okay. I did know the definition of succeeding spot, but it sounded trickier when you asked me live on the air. I was like, okay.
Live on the recording.
And we'll call it the air. I like it. I don't edit things out, Mike D, the referee. We just run it. If I say something stupid on my podcast, you're going to hear something stupid.
Attaboy. Never done that before. I'm a referee. All right, our special enforcements, 10-5. Any foul by the defense. When the run ends in the end zone and would result in a safety, the enforcement spot is the goal line. Yellow. This would only be the case after a change of possession. So that means that the special scenario. We talked about any fouls by the offense that happens in the end zone or in or behind the goal line is going to be a safety. And a score is going to be nullified if a penalty is accepted for a foul by A during a scoring play. If the foul is by A. If B intercepts it and returns it, pick six, they're going to decline Team A's foul. So we're going to move on from there. All right. So we have special enforcements one here. So we got roughing the passer. We're going to start talking about our roughing penalties, our loss of downs, and things like that. We're getting close to the end here. So roughing the passer, 9-4-5. It's a 15-yarder. It is an automatic first down. It's enforced from the dead ball spot when beyond the neutral zone, only when there's no change of possession occurred during the downs. For example, that quarterback completes the pass downfield and gets blasted. We're going to tack on 15 yards to that scenario. If there was a change of possession, A is going to retain possession, and we're going to go 15 yards from the succeeding spot. Roughing the snapper, kicker, and holder, 9-4-5-4-6. Again, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. And this will also fall under our scoring play enforcement. So this could be something where we could possibly tack on onto the next kickoff. So you rough the snapper, you rough the kicker and the holder, and the field goal is good. Well, maybe we can add that one on to the end. All right. Tomas, free kick out of bounds?
Yep. So free kick out of bounds, which I think that Mike and Daniel went over in Rule 6. So there's 4 options. When a free kick goes out of bounds untouched by Team R, it is 5 yards from the previous spot and re-kick. 5 yards from the succeeding spot, which is where the ball goes out of bounds. They could also put the ball in play 25 yards beyond where the ball was kicked from, or they can decline the penalty and put the ball in play at a spot of first touching by K. And another special enforcement that comes into play is kick catching interference. Again, 4 options. The 4th one is kind of irrelevant. They can take an awarded fair catch after a 15-yard penalty from the spot of the kick catching interference. They can take a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot and replay the down, or they can accept the results of the play. So we could have kick-catching interference. The kid still manages to pick up the ball or catch the ball and return it for a touchdown. They can decline everything and just take the touchdown. The last option is an awarded fair catch at the spot of kick-catching interference, but it's kind of useless when you can take option number 1 there with the 15 yards.
It would only come into hand when you're going to do the free kick after.
You could still do it on number 1.
You still get it with the 15 yards.
If you just wanted your guy to have a better angle or whatever, right? Because if it's on the left hash and it's down at the 1, that's a hard kick.
Yeah.
Versus kicking it from the 15
could be, yeah,
or the 30 or whatever. So,
or if you just wanted the kid to get the school record of a 50-yard field goal as opposed to a 35-yard field goal.
Let's go. We're out here trying to get the best.
Absolutely. You're really running up the score at that point in time. All right. So special enforcements. We got our unfair acts. The referee can enforce any penalty he or she feels is equitable, including the award of a score. And we did talk about this with the tush push and the jumping over the offsides and the hurdling and the hopping over and the skippity and the yippity. And yeah, that one. So a special enforcement by a foul by R on a successful try. K can accept the results of the play and enforce on the kickoff or in an extra period. So that one is a new one. So if the play goes into overtime, you got a roughing the snapper on the game tying extra point with no time left. You could take that 15 yards and tack it into our overtime period. So if you decline or you take defense, you win the toss, you take defense, you can move them from the 25 to the 40. Here in New Jersey, we go from the 25 in. But again, each state's a little bit different, but that can carry over. A foul by R on a successful field goal. K can accept the results of the play and take the enforcement on the field goal or the extra the extra period again. So just like we were talking about, you get the 3 points and you get to tack on. And fouls during or after a touchdown, A can elect the penalty to be enforced on the try or the subsequent kickoff. Some kid catches the ball in the end zone and then somebody decides they're really pissed off at them for catching that touchdown and they blast them and get a 15-yard late hit penalty. They can either take it on the try and move the ball up to the 1.5-yard line. If some teams will do that to try to go for 2, or they'll kick the ball and then kick off from the previous from the 45-yard line of our side. Either team can elect the penalty being enforced on the try or the subsequent kickoff for a dead ball foul. All right. So, Tom, I'm going to throw this one to you. This is, again, going back to almost slide 1 of what we need to do on the field now when a foul happens.
Yep. So, first, obviously, a foul's going to get called. Either the down's never going to start if we have a dead ball foul, or down ends, we're obviously going to continue to officiate the play. That's the biggest thing to stress to newer officials, at least, just because you called that holding and you know it's going to come back doesn't mean you don't keep working. It's generally what we like to see is the calling official notify the referee and give that who, what, when, where. Who was it, offense or defense? What, foul? And if you're calling a wacky foul, you better know the signal, because I don't know all of them sometimes. I probably do know most of them, but when is kind of boils down to the type of foul and the type of play when it occurred, right? So during the pass, we had defensive pass interference. Before the pass, we had defensive holding, right? The big difference, whether it's going to transition from defensive holding to DPI, it's important to know what type of play it occurred during and where, relevant spots. Now, again, I don't expect you to go, all right, Tom, we had holding, number 22 on the offense. Here's the signal for it. It was a live ball foul during a running play. The end of the run is the 25. The spot of the foul was the 22. The previous spot was the 20. Just give me the relevant ones. Hey, we're going to go from the spot of the foul. And, of course, we'll confirm it with everybody else. But we'd like to try to get most of this information covered so we don't have to think about it. The thinking we can do is if we got to ask the coach, or we can just go with it and then confirm moving forward from there.
And this is great with the day and age, again, talking about the O to O, because me now being an umpire, I also need to know this because I have to confirm where I'm going to be walking that penalty off from. Every state's got a little bit different mechanics with having one of the short wings walking it off with the umpire and things like that. But the referee's got a lot of stuff on their plate already. So if we can try to make it as simple as we can for them not to think and just give them the relative information, because again, during the play, they're focused on the quarterback, but now all of a sudden you're getting all this information. That referee might not drop a single flag an entire season, but that referee is the one that is going to get ripped to shreds by all of the fans and the coaches, because they're the one that are signaling the plays, because they are wearing that white hat and we all have on the black and white hat. So they're the ones who are pertinent in that scenario. So we want to make sure to give them all the right stuff and that we confirm it so that they look good, because when they look good, we as a crew look good. And last but not least, the referee is going to signal the foul to the press box, notify both teams. If it's a dead ball, skip to the enforcement. If it's a live ball, he's going to give a preliminary signal. We always want to try to give a preliminary signal just so they know what to expect so they can make their decision. So the example, again, that hold, just give that quick hold sign and look over to the side and just give a preliminary, and then we're going to get all those deets. Referee and crew determine the offended team's options, and let's get that information to the coaches. So consult with the penalty designee. And again, Daniel and I, we've talked about that the penalty designee of the captain is kind of gone. We want to get it to the coaches as quickly as possible. If it's an obvious penalty, okay, and we know the choices, we're going to try to expedite the game and move it quickly. So we're going to try to move it along. So if it's obvious, we'll skip that and we'll just kind of go with it. But I have had where we started marking it off and the coach says, no, I want the option. So we had to stop mid walk off and let him go with it. And then they decided to take the penalty anyway. Signal the press box and give the declining signal, the declination, and then give the number of the next down. For anybody that is out there that is new and you are on the chain gang, please do not change the number on the box, because sometimes when we're walking it off and we're replaying the down and we look over and you've already moved the down or moved the number, it screws everybody up. So let's make sure that we're all on the same page and let that short wing tell you to come down to them and what down it may be. So umpires walk off the penalty for the next spot, and let's get ready to play football with the next snap.
I've unfortunately 5 years of coaching, and I've been a part of confirmed 3, and I'd had to go back and confirm a 4th 5 downs to get a first, because the box was flipped or didn't get flipped, and the refs just looked over and confirmed, oh, look, it's still 2nd down. Like, no, it's 3rd and short, or, you know what I mean? Like, that stinks. I hate that we're still relying on.
Well, there's a lot of things that we're relying on with that, but the box people are one of them. But ultimately, it should fall on us as the crew and not that box person. We're lucky where we are predominantly the person on the box is also a certified official, but that is not 100% of the time. So sometimes it's just dads that have been working or teachers that have been working for the particular school that we're going to. Majority of the time it is a carded official, but it is something that we have talked about in our pregame routine ad nauseum that is repeated over and over again of our chain gang. Don't talk to the coaches. Please pay attention to what we're doing. Please follow our lead. And you are better to be seen and not heard type of scenario. As awful as they may sound, even if they are the carded officials, there's a lot of ears on the sidelines. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the conclusion of Rule 10, and we've come to the conclusion of our rules series. Thank you once again for everybody that has been involved in this. Tommy, Daniel, Coach Chip for joining us at an earlier episode. It's been awesome for the officials that are out there that are listening. Hopefully this has been enjoyable for your summertime listening instead of your summertime reading, or to reiterate your summertime reading, getting into that rules book to reinforce everything for the coaches that are out there. Hopefully this is something that is going to make you a better coach, and weaponizing it, as Daniel says, or just even knowing it and or again reinforcing it. So go back during the season and re-listen to an episode if you have to, just to pick up on something and say, okay, that guy was right. Not wrong. That guy was right. Or that gal. But hopefully this was good. I am going to still follow this up. We're going to talk about some penalty yardage and stuff like that, and some signals. So do that as a little quiz if anybody wants to join us for that, and see who knows what all the signals are. Because as Tom just referenced to, sometimes the R's don't know all the signals. And there's a great commercial out there where we got a penalty on somebody on that team, and I'm just going to wave my hands and we're going to go back 5 yards. Because a lot of times people don't realize what it truly is, but we want to make sure that we know it, because it's going to make us better officials. With that being said, gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate you for everything you guys have done. Tommy, appreciate you allowing me to steal your material. Daniel, for bringing the coach's insight to these questions, and the Blue Moon. We moved on from that, though.
You're the hater. It's amazing. You're not drinking them. If you don't like Big Red.
My wife likes Blue Moon, so it's all good. Thank you guys once again. Appreciate you all. Have a good night.